Thank you. Congratulations to all the graduates. It's been a privilege teaching you and a really fun time, so thank you for the good times. I'm Glenn Treisman, I'm the Grand Marshal. I'd like to introduce Reverend Uwe Scharf.
For our invocation, I want to offer a prayer that reflects on the mystery of the divine. And then I also want to offer a short selection of the mystic writing of Rumi on the mystery of human beings. And I believe that we are dealing with mysteries of divine and humanity in the profession of medicine and healing. Lord God of the universe, we praise you as a God of justice, a God of mercy, a God of passion, a God of vision, a God who cannot be taken for granted. We praise you as a God of mystery, a God of disguises, a God of surprises, a God who cannot quite be figured out by us. We praise you for being here, for being love, for being with us, for being the rock of ages and the wisdom of eons that has guided us. We praise you, O God, who is unpredictable and yet steadfast in love, compassion, and mercy. We praise you for your sanity in the midst of insanity, for your vision in the midst of chaos, for your love in the midst of hate. We praise you as being here, as being there and committed to us. We are your beloved, we are your children, and you call us friends. And now, in the words of the mystic writer Rumi of the 12th century Afghanistan, on the mystery of the human being called only breath. Not Christian or Jew or Muslim, not Hindu, Buddhist, Sufi or Zen, not any religion or cultural system. I'm not from the east or the west, not out of the ocean or up from the ground, not natural or ethereal, not composed of elements at all. I do not exist, am not an entity in this world or the next, did not descend from Adam and Eve or any origin story. My place is placeless, a trace of the traceless, neither body nor soul. I belong to the beloved, have seen the two worlds as one, and that one call to and know, first, last, outer, inner, only that breath, breathing human being. The mystery of the human being. Welcome.
Please be seated. I'm Ed Miller. I'm the Dean and CEO of Johns Hopkins Medicine. And I would like to offer my congratulations to those that are receiving their MD, PhD, or master's degrees today. Not only should you be proud of what you have accomplished, but your parents, spouses, and loved ones should also rejoice in this day. And while you have worked hard to achieve this goal, it could not have been done without the support of others. It's an honor for me to be with you today and to share in this truly great day. It's hard for me to believe that 40 years ago I received my MD degree from the University of Rochester School of Medicine and Dentistry. It was a day that I felt very proud of achieving one of my goals in life, but it was also a day of anxiety. What would life be like after medical school? I dare say that during your training in medicine, whether it was in the lab or in the clinic, people have questioned why you have gone into medicine. And I bet some would even say you made the wrong choice. Some might say you should go into business or the Wall Street. Maybe not these days, but some probably did. I will tell you that medicine is the most rewarding field one can undertake. If you're in the lab, you will be making discoveries that will alleviate human suffering in the future. And if you care for patients, you will directly impact their lives. I'm an anesthesiologist and a critical care doctor, and I have loved what I have done, both in research, education, and clinical care. And I love what I do now as the Dean and CEO, because I have the ability to direct resources that hopefully make it better for the next generation. During all of my experiences, I've learned a lot, and I'd like to pass some of that knowledge along to you. First, you are now part of a profession. You now have a unique and special responsibility. Society will turn to you for guidance, and your behavior, actions, and words will be scrutinized more closely than ever before. Medicine has an elevated place in society, and it is your duty and responsibility to maintain it. Some of you may think I'm not right about this. There are certainly many pundits shooting arrows at medicine today. I am not saying that medicine always does the right thing, but overall, society believes we do. And how do I know this? Well, I'm awed each time I take care of a patient for a surgical procedure. A perfect stranger comes into a hospital for an operation. The patient sees the anesthesiologist for a few minutes before the procedure, and the patient essentially says to the anesthesiologist, "Here is my life. I give it to you. Take good care of it and return my life to me without injury." Well, I wouldn't even loan my car to my sister, but a patient will loan their life to another person. This is the trust our profession has gained over the years. We cannot afford to misplace that trust. I also know that to gain this trust, we as a profession must spend more time with our patients. We must get to know them as people and not just another case. The Aliki program at Hopkins is one concrete example of how we at Hopkins can make medicine better for all. Honesty and integrity go hand in hand with our professional status. Recently, we've seen reports of doctoring of data to make the results look better, or they have been not totally truthful in the side effects of a drug. Often such behavior has been because of either professional advancement or financial pressures. As researchers, we must ensure that honesty and integrity are the keystones to our research, and we must not bend to the pressures of the pharmaceutical industry to gloss over negative data, but to be diligent when we examine the data that we obtain. Similarly, in the clinical world, we must have honesty in all of our dealings. When questioned on ward rounds about a lab value or a study, it's better to say, "I don't know," than to lie. A few years ago, a student was asked not to continue in the study of medicine here because he lied. The faculty committee felt strongly that integrity was such a core value of Hopkins that we could not let a student continue who was found to be lying. We also need to be truthful to our patients and to their families. We will make mistakes when taking care of patients. And when we do make mistakes and they cause harm to patients, we must admit them freely and to tell the patient we are sorry. Remember, to err is human, but one of the reasons to admit an error is so that others can learn. Our role in medicine is not only to do research and provide patient care, but also to teach. When we cause harm to a patient and admit fault, we have created an open environment so that a healthy discussion can occur and the underlying cause of the error can be found and solutions sought. And let me give you one specific example of how admissions of error can be helpful. I personally know over my career that at times, many years ago, wrong-sided surgery has occurred. Upon finding that the wrong side was operated upon, the surgeon might operate on the other side and then post-operatively tell the patient that the operation was a success and they looked at the other side just to make sure it was normal. Once people started to say that wasn't honest, things had to change, and people look for solutions to wrong-sided surgery. So today we have the surgical timeout before any surgical procedure begins, where the anesthesiologist, the surgeon, and the nurse must agree on the proper site of surgery. Let me end by saying that I have been a researcher, an education, a clinician, and now an administrator, and I have loved every aspect of my job. And I have turned to many for advice, and now I give advice. One important aspect of what I have done over the years is to serve as a mentor for others. I have learned this from those that have mentored me. It started in college with my physics professor, Dr. Maxwell, and then in medical school with the head of pathology, Dr. Orbison, and then at the Brigham with Dr. Van Dam, and at Harvard with Barger, and finally at Virginia with Dr. Epstein. While I was in the middle of my surgical internship, I knew surgery was not for me. I loved the ICU, and in those days, the road to the ICU was almost exclusively through anesthesia. Trying to understand where I wanted to go in life, I sought the advice of others. I knew a resident who had gone from surgery to anesthesia, and I wrote him, Gary Fanning, a letter, and I asked him why he had changed careers. And he wrote back a very thoughtful letter that I still have to this day, and it changed my life. So in a roundabout way, you need to understand that even at a young age, you will have the opportunity to serve as a mentor. Seize that opportunity and give them the time that is required. Remember, you are a professional now. Integrity and honesty must be the hallmark of your being. Teach others, and most importantly, help and guide others. You have chosen a wonderful profession with many opportunities. Take advantage of what your education here at Hopkins has offered you. Good luck and good speed. It's now my pleasure to introduce Tom Kanak, the Associate Dean for Student Affairs. Tom?
Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to add my welcome to our graduate and medical students, their family and friends, my faculty colleagues, and honored guests. This is a really fantastic day. 4 years ago, Drs. Barone Miller and I started in the Office of Student Affairs and have had the opportunity to know most of you graduating with MDs today since your matriculation here at Johns Hopkins. It's been an absolute privilege. We've had the lucky opportunity to witness and be amazed by your accomplishments in the classrooms, in the laboratories, on the wards and in the operating rooms of our school and hospital, and also in communities both far and near where you have made a difference in the lives of those less privileged. I want to thank you for the opportunity to see those wonders unfold. And I would encourage all of us to give thanks for other things. And even though I'm addressing our graduates today, I would ask my faculty colleagues and other physicians to also revisit these thanks that I think are very important for us to remember on this wonderful day of celebration. First of all, to the parents, relatives, partners, significant others, and friends who have and will continue to support you. They have created environments that instilled hope and a motivation to help others. They have cheered you on during good times and bad. They put up with your crazy schedules, and without their support, financial, emotional, and moral, this wouldn't be happening today. I would also encourage you to remember and give thanks to your teachers, to those science teachers in middle school that captivated your imaginations, to those who believed in you, those who pushed you, those who had faith in you when your own faith may have flagged a bit. You have learned from them and have in turn had the chance to teach them. That wonderful give and take between teacher and learner is something that should continue throughout your life and something to be cherished. And like Ed, I think most importantly, we should honor and give thanks to our most revered teachers, our patients. These are people who have allowed you, complete strangers, to enter their lives without question. They patiently endured initial attempts during clinical skills to elicit a comprehensive history of the present illness, even without knowing what question should come next. To try and percuss livers and somehow find their elusive edges. To repeatedly try to figure out if that toe is up or down going. I'm sure given your knowledge and skills now, it's funny to look back at those days, and I think wonderfully reassuring to know that med school actually works. But our patients have always been there for all of us, opening their bodies and lives to us in ways that few, if any other in their lives, have ever seen or known. From them, all of us have learned the reality of human illness and the ravages of human disease that no textbook, however classic, could ever convey to us. But I think much more importantly, we have also learned about the strength of the human spirit and about the incredible grace in the face of adversity. We should all feel humbled by them. And so, class of Aud 8, I wish you the absolute best in the years to come. Wherever you go, whatever you do, we will be proud to number you as one of Hopkins' own, and we can't wait to see what the future will bring. Please take care of yourselves, each other, and those you love. Congratulations. And now I have the happy task of introducing today's medical student speaker, Mr. Herman Bongo. Originally from New Jersey and raised in New York and Pennsylvania, Herman graduated from Case Western Reserve University in 2004 with majors in economics and biology. He matriculated here in the fall of that same year and has been an outstanding student, accomplished in both his academic work and investigations. He has also served on numerous important medical school committees, and this past year was elected by his colleagues and peers to serve as the head of our Medical Student Society. All of us, I think, have come to treasure Herman's personal warmth and ready wit. A wit sometimes allied with fearlessness that even reared its head during the residency interview season this year. Apparently, when sitting in front of a group of faculty members at a surgery program and asked to describe his weakest characteristic or point, Herman, without blinking an eye and in his typically deadpan way, immediately responded, "My abs, definitely my abs." As a footnote, Herman matched at a different hospital in a fantastic program in urology at the University of California, San Francisco. We're going to miss him a lot, but are absolutely confident that he will bring to his residency and beyond the same personal and professional characteristics that have truly graced our learning environment here at Hopkins. Please welcome Herman Bongo.
Thank you, Dean Koenig. I have been working out. It's getting a little bit better, kind of. Thank you all. Thank you, my classmates, faculty, administrators, family, friends. This is an absolute honor. I really, really appreciate this opportunity. Today I thought I would start by reading to you from a classic medical text. This is a text written by a brilliant Asian scholar, and I'm actually only going to read a few key lines, because I have a feeling that everyone in this room, medical and non, has actually had an experience with this book. A quick thank you, by the way, to my 5-year-old nephew who lent this text to me from his own personal library. Let's begin. An elephant makes a big poop. A mouse, a tiny poop. Grown-ups poop, and so do children. Some in diapers, and some in the toilet. All living things eat, so everyone poops. Teo Gaomi, our medical author, has a simple point. Everyone poops. Now you say the word poop, and I'm sent back to my 3rd year of medical school, where a particularly generous resident asked me that it was time for me to engage in my first manual bowel disimpaction. For those of you who aren't familiar, this is unfortunately exactly what it sounds. This is when, for a severely constipated patient, you manually remove the I'm not even going to give you the details, because it's gross. The point is, it's after this experience that I must disagree with Miss Gaomi's thesis statement. To this good author, I say, no, madam. Not everyone poops. At least not without the assistance of a horrified 3rd-year medical student. But there's comfort, isn't there, in that broad equalizing statement that everyone poops, that everyone does so in a toilet? Comfort enough to take a 2.5-year-old boy to the toilet, to that porcelain-beached ocean, and the perfect storm of its thunderous flush, and place his bum mere inches away from those certainly shark-infested waters. That child is scared, but he thinks to himself, everyone does it, it must be okay. He tries, and it is. It's fine. But as grown-ups, kind of, we find that while such sweeping ideas are convenient, they aren't always the case. Things aren't always what they seem. I was reminded of this recently, actually, when ABC News was following me around. They were doing this documentary, and they wanted to capture the life of a medical student. I remember pretty clearly. It was my OBGYN rotation, and I confidently walked into this patient room, followed by this camera, sat right in front of my patient. It's a rather large woman. We began talking, and I asked her the due date of her baby. Turns out she wasn't pregnant. That was some reaction. All caught on tape, and ABC News actually estimates about 9 million viewers. So that's going to be interesting. It's okay, I just told him I was Darspreet. He's the other Sikh turban guy in our class. I didn't do it. The point is, though, as we mature and as we learn, we find that even the seemingly obvious situations are variable. There's no such thing as a sweeping, broad truth. I know this as I'm finding that not everyone laughs at my jokes. The oncologist knows this when she finds that not every progesterone estrogen receptor positive breast cancer responds to chemotherapy with tamoxifen. The pulmonologist knows this when she has to tell a 30-year-old non-smoker, non-drinker, marathon-running school teacher that sews American flags and goes to church every Sunday that she somehow has breast cancer. The third-year medical student knows this when he disimpacts bowel. Not everyone poops. We've all enjoyed the privilege that it is to be a Johns Hopkins medical student, haven't we? Feels great to say. Doesn't this happen right? Isn't this true, classmates? Every time someone asks you, where do you go to school, and you humbly respond, Baltimore? Don't you just stop, stare, ache, just hope that they'll ask you, oh yeah, which school? What do you study? Just so you can say, Johns Hopkins Medical School. Heard of it? You know you do, and you love it, and you should. It's a privilege, and it's an honor. It's a privilege that one day will mean that everyone will look to you, maybe not now, but after residency, as authorities, as experts, when they need medical answers. And when that time comes, I hope you'll remain willing to go ahead and question those assumptions and be critical of the established protocols. Just like Osler did when he transformed the face of medical education, or Blaylock did when he ushered in the modern era of heart surgery, despite the prevailing rule at the time that you should not operate on the heart, or Patrick Walsh did when he rejected the most common prostate cancer surgery, which was simply accepted to leave all men impotent, and instead created a new one that now leaves almost all men potent. My point to you is this, my friends. Just as these fine, trailblazing Hopkins physicians acted, act. Follow their great example and utilize our great collection of medical knowledge, but remain critical of its content. Consider the assumptions, but never be their slave. Remember as they did, my friends, that although the white coat you're given is white, it does not mean that you should ever surrender. Mom and Dad, I love you. My classmates, my class of 2008, my brothers and sisters of our father Hippocrates, I love you too. You're going to do beautiful and wonderful things. Congratulations.
I'd like to introduce now the Associate Dean for Graduate Student Affairs, Dr. Peter Maloney. Peter?
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Thank you. I don't want to take too much time, but I do want to say a few words of thanks and appreciation to our graduates, our graduate students. Most of all, I want to say simply congratulations. This is your day. This is your day to celebrate. And recalling my own experience, this is probably a day when you feel both exhausted and somewhat exhilarated, both at the same time. But for a moment, I want you just to reflect on something else, because I want to make sure that you know and that your relatives and friends know that your degree is an unusual one because it's in an experimental science. Now, scholarly achievement in any field requires long hours and hard work and attention to detail and dedication. But by now, you know that there is no simple correlation between the experiment that actually works and all those long hours and attention to detail and dedication. In fact, experiments don't always work, do they? The ideas of Monday don't always look so good on Tuesday after you've recalculated the data. On Wednesday, when you talk to your thesis committee, probably on more than one occasion, you've had some differences of opinion about whether you actually did the right control, whether the experiment needs to be repeated, how many more of them we need, and perhaps in what new direction we might go off. But you've succeeded nonetheless. And this means that along with scholarly achievement, your degree represents something which is unusual. I don't mean that you've just managed to cope with momentary frustrations and failures. What I mean is you've unconsciously acquired a new reflex, something that will stand you in good stead. By now, this automatic reflex literally forces you to evaluate your initial assumptions, to integrate those with seemingly unrelated information, and then to move off in some new direction and finally find the experiment that works. This is a skill, a reflex, which you'll cherish in the rest of your professional life. Now, the process all began, of course, when you came to us as young students eager to learn and full of curiosity. And our job has been, as faculty, to shelter that spirit and to give you time to develop this reflex. So I hope we've done our job, because we know you've certainly done yours. And here I'm speaking for all of the faculty on the stage. We are enormously proud of you, and we have just marveled at this transformation as you've moved from an eager young student to a valued partner and colleague. So again, congratulations. So my job now is to introduce the graduate student speaker, Christopher Lemon. Would Christopher come forward? Now, Chris was chosen by the graduate students this year to give our graduate student lecture. He's actually learned all about experiments. He's succeeded. He's so eager to do them that he actually left Hopkins a little while ago to go down to Duke to pursue a postdoctoral position. He's come back to talk to us today. He'll also come back next year when I read his wife's name at the podium. Actually, he'll be visiting Baltimore more frequently than some, I imagine. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Dr. Maloney. Dean Miller, faculty members, fellow students, families and friends, good afternoon. When I first found out that I'd be speaking today, I really struggled with what to say. Because unlike our med student colleagues who are graduating today, as graduate students, we don't necessarily have the same common experiences. We're in different programs, we started at different times, in cases we're on completely different campuses. So I really struggled to come up with what I could say that would be relevant to everyone. I decided first to think back on graduation speeches that I had heard before. Now, mind you, I hadn't heard Herman's poop speech yet, so I didn't have that to draw from. So I decided first, I thought back, there's always great speeches in movies. Unfortunately, the only graduation speech I could remember was Reese Witherspoon's from Legally Blonde. And I don't know nearly enough about hair care to draw much from that. Strike one. So I thought back to my high school graduation. I can't remember much of what the student speaker said, but I remember that he talked for a really long time. And I remember afterwards, my dad came up to me, he put his arm around me, and he said, "Son, when it comes time for the reunion, make sure you lose that guy's address." Strike two. So I thought back to my undergraduate graduation. Universities are always bringing in distinguished speakers to impart words of wisdom and to give us some real encouragement. So I thought, who was my college graduation speaker? Well, that's right. It was Dan Quayle. I was actually very excited for part of Mr. Quayle's speech because his son was graduating with me that day. And he spent about 10 minutes talking about how his son had been treated just like everybody else. And I thought, that's fabulous, because that means any second now, he's going to spend 10 minutes talking about me. Needless to say, that speech ended quite disappointingly. So I was left on my own. So I thought, what common experiences do we share? And what I came up with is a story that happened to me the night before my defense. The night before my defense, my dad gave me a present. It was 2 collections of books. They were entitled Adventures of the Mind. And they were a collection of essays that were published in the early 50s. They were essays that had been published in the Saturday Evening Post, and they cover a wide range of topics. They cover philosophy and science and religion and morals, and they're really, really interesting to read. But what made them especially interesting to me was not the content, but where they had come from. These books had belonged to my grandfather. My grandfather was a truck driver in Pittsburgh. He drove a truck for Kaufman's department store. And if you had known him when he was alive and asked him what he did, he would have very matter-of-factly said to you, "I'm a truck driver." He wouldn't mention that he had taught himself to paint and had won numerous art competitions around Pittsburgh. He wouldn't mention that he had played minor league baseball for the Pirates. He wouldn't mention that he had taught himself to play piano. He wouldn't mention that he had read any book that he could get his hand on. He was one of the most scholarly people I'd ever met. He had read books on history and philosophy and religion and science and was an incredibly educated man. And what's really interesting about reading his books is that when you look through a book that he had, it's not just, he didn't just read a book. He would write down quotes in the margin, and he would draw sketches in blank spaces, and he would cut out newspaper articles that he found of interest and fold them in the pages. So when I look back through his books, I really feel that I'm experiencing them the way that he experienced it. And the night before my thesis defense, I opened one of his books, and there was a quote that he had written on the inside cover. And it's an old Vietnamese proverb that says, "When drinking the water, always remember those who dug the well." And this really struck me because I had thought so much of my PhD as a personal accomplishment. It was my long hours in the lab. It was my struggles with experiments not working. It was my dedication to finish what I had started. But when I read that quote, it really made me step back. If it wasn't for my grandfather, his love of learning that he passed on to my dad and my dad passed on to me, I never would be here today. I never would have had what it takes to get to this point. And I think that's where we all have some common ground. All of us have people who dug the well for us. We all have people in our past, be it family members who told us we could do anything we set our mind to, be it teachers who encouraged us along the way. We all have those people who helped us get here today. And while we revel in this great day and this great accomplishment, I think we all need to take a moment and step back and remember those who dug our well. Because as proud as we are of our accomplishment, I assure you they are significantly prouder. Congratulations to all the graduates, and thank you.
Well, I certainly am honored to share this momentous day with you and your families, and I am equally honored to introduce our distinguished convocation speaker, Dr. Peter B Lanson. I have had the pleasure of knowing Peter for many, many years, and I can say without reservation that he embodies the very best of a great and noble profession. In a field of endeavor renowned for its service to humanity, Peter stands out. He has dedicated his life to public service as a physician, as the director of the Baltimore City Bureau of School Health, as the health commissioner for the city of Baltimore, and most recently as the health officer for Howard County, Maryland. It is abundantly clear for Peter public service was and is a great calling and a moral imperative. And his record in service to the public speaks clearly to this fact. After graduating from Harvard, Peter taught 7th grade for a year, a job that helped prepare him for the rigors and stresses and demands of medical school. After he breezed through medical school and while completing his residency in preventive medicine, he earned a master's degree in public health from the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. From there, he rose rapidly, becoming the health commissioner for the city of Baltimore, a position he held under 2 administrations. During this time, Peter continued to provide medical treatment for patients at the city's health clinics while simultaneously serving as a medical consultant for city high school-based health centers. Last year, he accepted the top health care post, health officer for Howard County, one of Maryland's fastest-growing counties. Peter also serves as proof that not all of the rewards of life of public service are intrinsic. In 1996, he was recognized nationally by his peers as the first ever recipient of the Milton and Ruth Romer Award for Creativity by a local health official. In 1998, he received the Laughlin Distinguished Public Officer Award from the Medical and Surgical Faculty of Maryland, and he was named the Best Civil Servant by Baltimore Magazine. In 1999, he received the Johns Hopkins School of Hygiene and Public Health Delta Omega Alpha Chapter's Outstanding Member Award. And in 2000, he was named the Public Health Official of the Year by the Mental Health Association Metro Branch. In 2001, he received the American Lung Association of Maryland's President's Award, and in 2002, he was the recipient of the Trailblazers Award from the Citizens Review Board for Children. And in 2005, he was named Child Advocate of the Year by the CASA of Maryland. I'm delighted that Peter has earned such rich praise for his selfless commitment to serving others. Please join me in welcoming a great humanitarian. Peter?
Well, thank you very much for that introduction. Dean Miller, faculty, staff, families, of whom I hear many. It's great that so many young families are here in the audience. And of course, graduates, congratulations to all of you. Far too often, graduation speakers launch into their treatise without mentioning that which is most important, and that is that all of you have spent years and years of hard work, shared efforts with your classmates and your teachers, residents and interns, mentors and lab assistants. You are leaving today as graduates of one of the most prestigious institutions in the world, and you and your families, whose efforts we should also recognize, should be justly proud. Now, my wife has pointed out to me, in contradiction to what Chris was just saying, that none of you will remember who your graduation speaker was, nor much of any of what was said. I don't remember who my medical school graduation speaker was, and it wasn't that long ago. However, I do, and you will remember, the joy of sharing this day with classmates and faculty, some of you at least, taking the Hippocratic Oath, and hopefully great satisfaction at completing a major milestone in your life. So, as Chris's dad would argue, I will be brief, and if I may, as my contribution to your graduation, I'd like to share 3 major life lessons that I've found valuable over the past 20 years since my medical school graduation. First, and as Herman was sort of implying, as we were all taught in kindergarten, be kind and helpful to others. Second, have a passion for what you do. And third, in whatever manner you choose, advocate for a better world. Some of you may have heard about a 47-year-old professor at Carnegie Mellon, Dan Pausch, who was recently diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and gave what was called his last lecture, in which he tried to distill what he thought were the most important lessons he could pass on to his children. Many hit home for me, but one in particular stuck out. Living your life dreams is wonderful, but enabling others to live theirs is even more satisfying. You will have the ability to do this literally by saving people's lives and figuratively by helping people achieve their potential through your interventions. You have the ability, more than those in virtually any other profession, to profoundly influence the lives of those whom you work with, your patients, both for good and bad. As Dean Miller said, despite the generally cynical nature of our times, which have tarnished the reputations of many professions, the public still has great respect for physicians and scientists. Patients look to their doctors for kindness, hope, and advice. As an example, patients are much more likely to quit smoking just by the suggestion of their physician. Because your patients have such profound respect for you, a simple caring word from you can literally change their outlook and attitude. Remember this when you see your patients. Although they may be an interesting case and you may be the world's best diagnostician, and knowing a lot of you here, you probably are the world's best diagnosticians, the patient's course is often determined as much by their attitude as their specific treatment. A callous or aloof manner on your part can be tremendously detrimental. On the other hand, a kind look, an understanding ear, or a reassuring word can be tremendously helpful. In this increasingly technology-driven world, of which medicine is certainly a part, remember that patients look to us for the human touch. So again, remember to be kind and helpful to others. Despite all the problems with practicing medicine, I'll list a few of them, but you've probably heard them. Fighting with insurance companies, inadequate reimbursement, particularly for primary care docs, 15-minute visits, malpractice concerns, and constraining regulations, you still have the opportunity to participate in one of the few fields around that continually sees improvement. Unlike teaching, which I did many years ago, undeniably a noble profession, where many teachers and principals work in schools with increasingly more difficult environments, or business, where investment advisors or business owners have to muddle through economic fluctuations, physicians and researchers ply our trade in a constantly improving environment. 2 examples from my own life. My interest in going into medicine was sparked by the death in 1968 at age 14 of my next-door neighbor, Doug, of acute lymphocytic leukemia, within weeks of his diagnosis. Today, ALL is a difficult and very significant speed bump in a young person's life, but unlikely to be fatal. Similarly, the grandfather for whom I am named died at age 56 of a heart attack in the early 1960s after suffering serious angina for months and months and months. Today, with stents or a bypass combined with newer medications, he likely would have lived to a ripe old age. Other examples abound. Look at psychiatry. Instead of lifelong debilitation or worse, individuals with common serious conditions like depression often are able to manage this condition and their lives well with SSRIs and the like. All of you will have a role to play in this constantly improving profession. PhDs, I think you guys are the PhDs over here, right? PhDs will undertake research resulting in novel treatments. Surgeons will develop more effective and less invasive new procedures. Oncologists will bring new approaches to their patients. Pediatricians will counsel their young charges on how to prevent chronic health conditions. Those going into public health, and I hope some of you do, will work on improving access to health care to the millions of our fellow citizens currently without health care coverage. Whatever discipline of the medical and scientific fields you go into, have a passion for what you do. The German poet Hebel said that nothing great in the world has ever been accomplished without passion. But a great accomplishment doesn't have to be finding a cure for sickle cell, although again, I wouldn't be surprised if one of you does. But a passion for helping others and continuing to learn your field is what will make you great researchers, great practitioners, and for one of you, a great medical artist. A caution, in your zeal for your work, don't forget balance in your life. Your family needs you as much as your patients do. Most of you will have children and a spouse, and again, hearing from the room here, many of you probably already do. All of you will be part of a community. Be sure to spend time, not just quality time, with those people who are important in your life. Think about that. It's crucial, especially as you're starting out. A quick example from my own life. Although I certainly don't have surgeon's hours, I could never get up that early or stand that long. My position in the past 15 years has required a significant degree of commitment. Yet I have made it a real priority to spend time, a quantity of time, with my family. I am currently coaching my 5-year-old's T-ball team, the 27th such team that I have coached. That's what you get for having 5 kids. And I've coached several of the faculty, Gabe, and several others' kids in the back there. I am annually the Santa Claus, ho, 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 for my son's holiday party, and have made virtually every concert, game, speech of each of my kids throughout their childhoods. But in addition to making those efforts to be there for your children's or your spouse or partner's events, make sure you also spend enough time with your 5-year-old so that you realize a dismissive comment from him is actually, paradoxically, meaning that he wants you to play with him, something you wouldn't have known if you didn't spend that time. Not surprisingly, the time in my life I felt most out of balance due to the immense time commitment was the 15 months I spent trying to be one of the few physicians getting into Congress. Again, have a passion for what you do, but balance those passions. Finally, through your hard work, you have the privilege of being a graduate of one of the preeminent medical institutions in the world. As has often been said, with great privilege comes great responsibility. Your patients and society expect you to advocate for needed change in the world. I realize that the demands of your job will be significant, both in time and emotion, and I have already, just a minute ago, strongly encouraged you to remember to balance your professional and personal life. But everyone in this room has an hour a month or even a week to dedicate to change. In honor of our neighbors at Shock Trauma across town, let's call it the golden hour of change. Oh, that was supposed to be a laugh line. None of you are shock trauma types. Anyway, this hour can be used in many different ways. working with a group of like-minded people, perhaps, to solve some aspect of the healthcare crisis, perhaps advocating for reforms that will finally bring the U.S. into the society of nations in the world that recognize that access to health care for all is a basic human right. Some of you who go into pediatrics or primary care may find that you are frustrated and distressed by the common and mostly preventable ailments that you see, such as childhood obesity and its attendant consequences of early onset degenerative arthritis and diabetes. Don't hesitate. Don't hesitate to get involved in pushing your local school system to change its physical education and nutrition practices. Spend that hour a month calling your school board members or talking to a principal. For those of you who will become surgeons, anesthesiologists, or emergency medicine docs, especially in urban areas, you may, and I'm sure you will, get fed up with the level of violence in your community. Use your influence, take advantage of the respect conferred on the medical profession, and take that hour to write to legislators, or better yet, to go to Annapolis or another state capital to push for handgun limitations or youth violence prevention programs. My favorite quote is from George Bernard Shaw, though it is better known from Robert Kennedy's speeches during the presidential election of 1968, and he said, "Some look at things that are and ask why. I dream of things that never were and ask why not. Be one of those that asks why not." Thank you for the honor of being asked to speak to you today, and congratulations on your magnificent accomplishment. I wish you the very best in your careers and your personal lives.
Dr. B Lanson, thank you very much for speaking with us today and also for everything you've done for the citizens of Maryland. One of the more fun things that I get to do, of the wonderful things in my role in student affairs, is the announcement of student awards today. Many of our students, including all of the graduate students who have won research awards, have already been listed in the program, and I would please urge you to review their really incredible accomplishments. The first awards that will be announced today will be those students who have been inducted into the Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society. The Alpha Chapter of Maryland was established at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine in 1906. Medical students with outstanding records are elected to membership in their senior year of medical school. The following members of the graduating class have been elected to membership in Alpha Omega Alpha. As I call your name, please stand and remain standing until all inductees have been named. I would also ask that you hold your applause until all inductees have been called. Hannah Alfs, Mark Awad, Allison Barker, Christopher Brady, John Peter Campbell, Hanying Pegu Chang, Leah Clattenburg, Jennifer DeRamsey, David Dowdy, Stephen Eliades, Corinna Moore, Afshan Nanji, Shantanu Nundi, Ramina Wahab, Gina Westhoff, Alice Yao, and Amir Zamani. Congratulations. In recognition of their excellent academic performance during medical school, the following members of the School of Medicine graduating class have been elected to the Phi Beta Kappa National Honor Society. Again, I would ask you to stand and also please hold your applause. Brian Cohey, Una Park, Supratim Ray, and Melissa Wright. Congratulations. The Warfield T. Lonco Prize in Clinical Medicine recognizes that graduating student entering the field of medicine whose performance in the discipline exemplifies in outstanding fashion the academic excellence and the human qualities that mark the true physician. This year's deserving recipient is Mr. David Dowdy. David, please come forward. The Helen and Harold Harrison Award was established by Dr. Harrison's house officers and colleagues during his many years as Chief of Pediatrics at the Baltimore City Hospitals. This award recognizes outstanding proficiency in pediatrics and is awarded this year to 2 recipients, Mark Callender and Corinna Moore. The William Stewart Halsted Award in Surgery was established in honor of Dr. Halsted, the first professor and director of the Department of Surgery, and recognizes that graduating student entering the field of surgery whose proficiency in the discipline is judged as outstanding by the faculty of the sections of surgical sciences. This year's award goes to Claude Beatty, Jr. The Emily Sims Haller Prize in Obstetrics was established in 1993 to honor outstanding medical students for their work in obstetrics. This prize was created by colleagues, friends, and family members of Dr. Haller. This year's recipient is Gina Westhoff. The Society for Academic Emergency Medicine Award recognizes a senior student who has demonstrated excellence in the specialty of emergency medicine. This year, the award goes to Kang-Ming Gordon Nye. The American Academy of Neurology Prize for Excellence in Neurology is awarded annually to a graduating medical student who exemplifies outstanding scientific achievements and clinical acumen in neurology or neuroscience, and outstanding personal qualities of integrity, compassion, and leadership. This year's award recipient is Andres Drooler. The Novi Prize in Psychological Medicine recognizes that graduating student with an outstanding academic record in psychiatry who has written the best paper on the connection between medical illness and mental life. This year, the award winner is Jessica Perniciero. The Stephen J. Ryan, MD Prize in Ophthalmology is awarded to a graduating Johns Hopkins medical student with an outstanding academic record who is entering the field of ophthalmology. This year, the award goes to John Peter Campbell.
The David E. Rogers Award was established by the Johns Hopkins Health System in honor of Dr. David E. Rogers, Dean of the School of Medicine from 1968 through 71. It is presented annually to two students who have exemplified the highest standards of professionalism, medical ethics, and community leadership. The members of the graduating class receiving the award this year are David Wesley Dowdy and Ariel Ruth Green. Please come up.
I'd like to take a few moments to recognize the marshals and hooders for today's ceremony. They were chosen by the students, and an honor to have them here today. Would the marshals and hooders please stand and be recognized? In the next few moments, we will be presenting a number of awards to the faculty. The George J. Stewart Award is presented to an outstanding clinical teacher in the School of Medicine, selected by members of the senior class. The recipient this year is Dr. Roy Siegelstein, professor in the Department of Medicine. Dr. Siegelstein? The W. Berrywood Jr. Award for Excellence in Teaching is awarded annually to teachers voted by the students in the preclinical years to have been the most inspirational and/or effective. This award was granted by this class in 2004 and 5 to Dr. David Whistlehample of the Center for Functional Anatomy and Evolution, and in 2005 and 6 to Dr. Michael Joy of the Department of Medicine. Will they both come forward, please? The House Staff Award, recognizing outstanding clinical teaching by a member of the House staff, emphasizes the importance the students attach to the value of House officers as teachers. The award this year is being presented to Dr. Daniel Durand, a resident in the Department of Radiology and Radiological Sciences. Dr. Durand, would you please come forward? The Graduate Student Teaching Award recognizes that faculty member whose skills as a teacher, role model, and advisor are regarded as exemplary by the graduate students. The member of the faculty receiving this award this year is Dr. John Lorsch, Associate Professor in the Department of Biophysics and Biophysical Chemistry. Dr. Lorsch? On behalf of the Johns Hopkins University Alumni Association, it is my pleasure to present the 16th Annual Alumni Association Excellence in Teaching Award to Dr. Daniel Rabin. Dr. Rabin is a professor in the Department of Biological Chemistry, Physiology, and Oncology Center. The Excellence in Teaching Award was created by the Alumni Association to recognize faculty from all divisions at Johns Hopkins who demonstrate an unparalleled commitment to teaching. Dr. Rabin was nominated for this award by fellow faculty and selected by a committee comprised of colleagues and students. Would you please join me in honoring Dr. Rabin? The recipients of the Professor's Award for Excellence in Teaching are nominated by professors on our faculty and selected from those nominations by a committee of faculty, professors, and representatives of the House staff, medical students, and graduate students. The winner of the Professor's Award for Excellence in Teaching in the Combined Basic and Clinical Sciences is Dr. Alan Gelber, Associate Professor in the Department of Medicine. In recognition of his contributions to education in both the second and subsequent years of medical school, I am pleased to present him with the Professor's Award for Teaching in the Preclinical and Clinical Sciences. The winner of the Professor's Award for Excellence in Teaching in the Clinical Sciences is Dr. Stephen Yang, Associate Professor in the Department of Surgery and Oncology. In recognition of his truly outstanding contribution, I am pleased to present him with a Professor's Award for Teaching in the Clinical Sciences. The winner of the Professor's Award for Excellence in Teaching in Basic Science is Dr. Michael Katerna, Associate Professor in Biological Chemistry and Neurosciences. It gives me great pleasure to present the award with the Professor's Award for Excellence in Teaching in the Preclinical Sciences. Dr. Katerna. The winner of the Professor's Award for Excellence in Teaching by a part-time faculty member is Dr. Maura Mcguire, Assistant Professor in the Department of Medicine. Dr. Mcguire, would you please come forward? The Bernice W. Crosby Distinguished Achievement Award for scholarly contributions to the advancement of art as applied to medical sciences was established in 1986 by alumni, faculty, and friends to recognize her devotion to teaching at Hopkins. This year, the Bernice W. Crosby Distinguished Achievement Award is presented to Dr. Alice Katz, Professor and Director Emeriti of the Medical Illustration Program at the University of Illinois in Chicago. Over the past 40 years, she has dedicated her professional life to inspiring hundreds of medical illustrators and students across the country. While the director of the graduate program from 1980 to 1999, she transformed the curriculum, helping to heighten awareness of the field of biomedical visualization. Since stepping down as director, she has continued to play a leadership role in the education of medical illustrators by maintaining the standards of the profession for the Accreditation Review Committee for the Medical Illustrator. We take this opportunity today to recognize her longtime dedication and contribution as an outstanding educator in the field of biomedical illustration. Dr. Katz, would you please come forward?
Dr. Fussell here. This afternoon, the recipients of the Master of Arts, the recipient of the Master of Science and Doctor of Philosophy degrees will be hooded by faculty of their choosing. Will recipients of the degrees of Master of Arts and Master of Science please step forward so that we can confer your diploma and your hood? Our first recipient is Barbara Chubak, who will receive her hood from Dr. Mary Fussell of the Department of History of Medicine. Our next recipient is Fabian de Koch-Mercado, who receives his hood from Dr. Gary Lees in the Department of Art as Applied Medicine. Gary Lees will remain here and hood the next several candidates. The first one is Ikumi Kayama. Ikumi, I might add, was the artist who drew the program booklet you're looking at right now. Amun Posey. Satyen Tripathi. Now, Dr. Jonathan Lorsch will hood the next student. I should comment that Dr. Lorsch has been chosen by the graduates to hood students whose mentors could not be with us this afternoon. He will return again when we start the hooding of the PhD graduates. The first master's candidate is Joseph Kabogo. Dr. Harold Lehman joins us now. He is in the Division of Health Science Informatics and will be hooding the next 3 Masters of Science candidates who received their degrees in that program. The first is Catherine Lipscomb-Ball. The next is Prudence Ward Dalrymple. And our third recipient is Sule Mohammed. Recipients of the Doctor of Philosophy degree will now come forward to receive their hoods. I should comment that the degree itself was conferred at this morning's commencement. There are a large number of these degree candidates today, so it will take some time for them to gather. And so I thought I might make just a few comments about the graduate students here at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. As you know, there are awards listed in your program. This under-recognizes the accomplishments of some of our students, and as they move forward, I will try to remind us of special cases. We conferred 110 degrees this year from the graduate programs at the School of Medicine, and there are 70 of those students able to join us today. Please welcome Bruce Wong to the stage. He will be hooded by Dr. William Baldwin of the Department of Pathology. Dr. Baldwin will also hood the next candidate, Kazunori Murata. Our next recipient is Marcel Estevez. Marcel and I had a good deal of chance to talk. He was the vice president of the Graduate Student Association. He'll receive his hood from Dr. J. Rabin of the Department of Neuroscience. Congratulations. Adil Highland will receive her hood from Dr. Jeff Buca, the Department of Molecular Biology and Genetics. Una Park will receive her hood from Dr. Michael Katerina, Department of Biological Chemistry. Our next recipient is Jonathan Adler, who receives his hood from Dr. Kurt Sivan of the Department of Oncology. Please welcome Tarya Yopiri, who receives her hood from Dr. Chi Van Dang of the Department of Medicine. Mark Awad is up next. Mark will receive his medical degree in just a few moments, but in the meantime, he's receiving his hood from Dr. Harry Dietz of the Department of Pediatrics. Nathaniel Wong will receive his hood from Dr. Jennifer Esselef of the Department of Biomedical Engineering and the Whiting School of Engineering. And Dr. LSF will also confer the hood to the next recipient, Yusung Janice Lee. Jixing Zhao is our next candidate. We'll receive his hood from Dr. Paul England of the Department of Biological Chemistry. Tamara Fiss will receive her hood from Dr. Susan Escherman of the Department of Pathology. Dr. Peter Espenshade of the Department of Cell Biology will confer the next two hoods, first to Adam Hughes. And next to Bridget Todd Hughes. Both of these young people have won American Heart Predoctoral Fellowships in their course here. Russell Addis is our next recipient, and he will receive his hood from Dr. John Gerhardt of the Department of Gynecology and Obstetrics. Rachel Rookdesel-Smith is our next recipient. She received both a Whitaker and a National Science Foundation Fellowship for her predoctoral work. She's being hooded by Gary Gerstenbluth of the Department of Medicine. Lauren Neal will receive her hood from Dr. Stephen Shao of the Department of Neuroscience. And Dr. Shao will stay on stage to hood Supratim Ray, the next recipient. Karen Spanos is our next recipient. She will receive her hood from Bill Isaacs of the Department of Urology. Eric Lutz is our next recipient, who will receive his hood from Elizabeth Jaffe of the Department of Oncology. Andres Drooler will receive his hood from Dr. David Linden of the Department of Neuroscience. Andre you've seen already, and you'll see once again when he gets his medical degree later on. This next group of students will be hooded by Dr. Lorsch. As I noted, Dr. Lorsch was chosen by the graduates to hood those whose mentors who could not be here today. The first of these is Sami Alam Ruiz. Our next recipient is Kimberly Briggs. Wei Chen is our next recipient. Curtis Chong, who received an important national award from the University of Washington. It's called the Harold Weintraub Award for his graduate work. You'll see him again in a few moments when he gets his medical degree. Alex Wong. You'll also see Alex once again as he gets his medical degree, and I should note he also is the winner of an NSERC, a Canadian predoctoral fellowship. Vincent Wong. Sekyung Oh. Omanaki Olalei. Pei-Ying Wu. And Xiaoli Zhang.
Dr. Maloney will be hooding the next graduates. Krishna Juluri. Alexandra Kalavitska. And Xiao Ji Sheng.
James Schaffer Jr., please step forward to receive your hood from Dr. Harry Marks, Department of History of Medicine. Young Kwan will receive his hood from Dr. Craig Montel of the Department of Biological Chemistry. Seok Moon will also receive his hood from Dr. Montel. It's been a good year for Dr. Montel because he's also going to hood David Wasserman. Actually, it's been a good year for the Montels because Denise Montel will give recipient his next hood, Dr. G. Kim. Dr. Montel will also confer the hood to Mariana Milani. Su Guo will receive his hood from Dr. Timothy Moran, the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences. Jing Liang will receive his hood from Dr. Mark Ostermeyer of the Department of Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering at the Whiting School of Engineering. Emmanuel Kargianis will receive his hood from Dr. Alexandra Popo, Department of Biological Engineering. Biomedical Engineering, I beg your pardon. Samuel Collins receives his hood from Dr. Jonathan Powell of the Oncology Center. Paul Zarek will also receive his hood from Dr. Powell. Kimberly Dowd should come forward to receive her hood from Dr. Stewart Ray of the Department of Medicine. Dr. Ray will also hood the next recipient, which is Emily Patterson. Our next recipient is Elizabeth Reichel, who will receive her hood from Dr. Douglas Robinson of the Department of Cell Biology. Now please welcome back to the stage Christopher Lemon, our graduate student speaker, who will receive his hood from Dr. Louis Romer of the Department of Anesthesiology and Critical Care Medicine. Faisal Kamali is our next recipient, who receives his hood from Dr. Mark Shellhammer of the Department of Otolaryngology. Faisal is another one of our NSERC Fellowship awardees. He's also had an interest in education, and he's taken part in our Maryland Science Center internship programs. Yeffie Han will receive her hood from Dr. Robert Silicano of the Department of Medicine. And Dr. Silicano will also hood Hung Chi Yang, our next recipient. Xin Duan will be hooded by Hong Jun Song, Department of Neurology. Lauren Seipel receives her hood from Dr. James Stivers of the Department of Pharmacology and Molecular Sciences. Benjamin Auerbach receives his hood from Dr. Mark Tieford of the Center for Functional Anatomy and Evolution. Benjamin is another award winner. He won the National Science Foundation Fellowship for his graduate work. Dr. Tieford will stay on the stage to give a hood to Jason Organ, our next recipient. Nirvik Bhattacharjee is our next recipient, who receives his hood from Dr. Nitish Thekor of the Department of Biomedical Engineering. Nirvik won a prestigious Whitaker Award for his work in graduate school. Daniel Bender is our next recipient, who receives his hood from Joaquin Wang of the Department of Biomedical Engineering. Daniel also received a prestigious award from the National Institutes of Health for his graduate work. Stephen Aleades is our next recipient, who receives his hood from, again, Dr. Joaquin Wang. And you'll see Stephen once again in a few more moments. Alyssa Isa is our next recipient, again from Dr. Wang. Elias also received a Whitaker Award for his work. And our last recipient is Jason Shepard, who receives his hood from Dr. Paul Worley of the Department of Neuroscience. This concludes the presentation of the graduate hoods. I want you to join me once again in saluting this the class of 2008. Congratulations.
And now, please, if the recipients of the degree Doctor of Medicine, please come forward so we may present you with your diploma and hood.
Bring it to my height.
Cheryl Adakapara. Mark Awad. Kirsten Baca. Juan Baez. Herman Baga. Allison Barker. Clarissa Barnes. Claude Beatty, Jr. Daniel Bowers. Christopher Brady. Mark Callender. John Peter Campbell. Kaisan Chichana. Han Ying Peggy Chang. Tai Li Cheng.
That's okay. Go back.
Christopher Chapman. Russ Chunick. Curtis Chong. Barbara Chubak. Leah Clattenburg. Brian Cohey. Caitlin Costello. James Cowan. Harry Dow, Jr. Sneha Desai. Emily Deschler. Rajiv Devanagandhi. Nadia Moji Danani. Jennifer Warner DeRamsey. David Dowdy. Megan Durr. Nicole Edmond. J. Matthew Edwards. Stephen Eliades. Jonathan Etheridge. Ariel Green. Adina Greenbaum. Paulette Gray.
Do we have people stay? the cadence going.
Jonathan Habtemariam. Kendra Harris. Matthew Hellman. Brian Howard. Charles Chu. It's my first hug. Alex Wong. Monique James. Mia Jin. Lucas Jones. Daraspreet Kant. Nirav Kapadia.
Paul Kim. Wonha Kim. Amy Lai. William Lau. Amber Lease. Nancy Lee. Jessica Long. Candace Mack. Christine Min. Amber Mock. Corinna Moore. Melissa Morgan. Denise Michette. Katie Nadeau. Afshan Nanji. Venkata Anupama Narla. Kaming Gordon Nyai. Yatunda Abasola Noah. Marissa North. Shantanu Nundi. Jessica Perniciero. Solmaz Pirsade. Stephen Priest. Susan Kwan. Heidi Reitz. Delphine Robotham. Sonali Rudra. Annabelle Ruiz. Esfandiar Jason Sabat Payman. Michael Soder. Oh. Hold up on the last one. Let's file in. Michael Soder. Benjamin Schneider. Andre Strula. Shannon Shea. Lauren Singer Cohey. Julia Skapik. Jordan Swanson. Dora Sin. Ryan Takanaga. Raquel Tripp. Romina Wahab. Gina Westhoff. Lisa Whitkin. Cyrus Wong. Christine Yamaki. Alice Yao. Fei Yao. Jean Yu Campbell. Amir Zamani. Sandy Zhang Nunes. Please join me in congratulating the School of Medicine class of 2008. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. David Hellman, the Aliki Parati Professor of Medicine, who will administer the Oath of Hippocrates.
It's widely believed that the oath that you, the class of 2008, are about to recite was written in the 4th century BC by Hippocrates, the ancient Greek who is considered the father of medicine. The Hippocratic Oath has been embraced by medical graduates because it so powerfully articulates and captures the highest standards and ethical responsibilities that are at the core of our profession. In an age in which much seems transient, sound, and fury, it is comforting and reassuring to consider that over the last 2,400 years, the countless physicians who have preceded you in pledging allegiance to the cherished and enduring principles of our profession. It's time to add your voice. Would the class of 2008 please stand? And if you will repeat after me, I do solemnly swear by that which I hold most sacred, that I will be fully committed to those I serve, and just and loyal to the profession of medicine and its members, that I will lead my life and practice my art in uprightness and honor, that into whatsoever house I shall enter, it shall be for the good of the sick. To the utmost of my power, holding myself aloof from wrong, from corruption, and from the tempting of others to vice, that I will exercise my art solely for the care of my patients, and will give no drug and perform no operation without justifiable purpose, nor ever suggested. That whatsoever I shall see or hear of the lives of men and women, which is not fitting to be spoken, I will keep inviolably secret. These things I do promise, and in proportion as I am faithful to this my oath, may happiness and good repute be ever mine. The opposite, if I shall be forsworn. Congratulations, doctors.
And now for the benediction. Lord God of the universe, you are known under so many names. Sometimes it is difficult for us to leave the present moment when we are celebrating, like here in the Meyerhof, when we are within the walls that are familiar to us, Johns Hopkins Hospital, Johns Hopkins University. But when we look outside of these buildings and institutions, if we look into our world, if we look into East and West Baltimore, we see violence, we see suffering, and sometimes we are tempted to say, Lord, do something, Lord, for God's sake, do something. Sometimes we long for a fire and brimstone God who would come down from heaven and establish peace, establish law and order, and tell our spouses, neighbors, bosses, children, other nations, our patients and fellow faculty member that we are right and they are wrong. O God, our righteous indignation can reign high, and we can stoop low when we want to engage to fix the world according to our own vision. Therefore, as we go from this place, grant us wisdom, grant us courage, grant us humility, and grant us the willingness to listen to one another and to listen to you and to act towards peace and justice and mercy in our circles of influence, starting with ourselves, our families, our neighborhoods, our city, our nation. Help us to help ourselves and to help one another to become agents of change, of peace, of passion, of love for this world that is so much in distress and in need of healing. You have called us into the arena of healing, and we have heeded your call. Let us go where you would want us to go. Let us act where you would want us to act. And let us listen and pause and reflect where you would have us slow down before we act. God, we pray for ourselves and for others that you may be with us, guide us, sustain us, and inspire us to work for peace, to love kindness and mercy, and to live humbly with our God and with our neighbors. We pray for peace. We ask for shalom. Be with us as we go from this place. Amen.